let's talk about history grifters as a public history case study. Maybe even an academic accountability inquiry. Devote a whole module to it from one of my next classes. And no, I am not referring, at least not this time, to Graham Hancock. His nonsense is rooted in overt racism. What I want to talk about today is about the casual, subtle racism that's baked into white-centric history mongering for a subscription fee, like Dan Snow and his History Hit streaming service. Hi, I'm Tad Sturmer. For those of you who don't know, I teach public history at Johns Hopkins, and I'm the film and digital media editor of The Public Historian, at least for now. I haven't been making a lot of content lately because I've been actually writing. Something that at least two of you, Chad, Rochelle, will be very happy to hear, I hope. But I got caught up this morning when Dan Snow's Blue Sky account, billed as The History Guy, posted a congratulatory note about his subscription streaming service winning some Best Channel award. He boasted about starting the platform with only a crowdfunder and enthusiasm, pulling himself up by his own bootstraps, Dan. But let's leave aside the fact that Snow is a member of Britain's wealthiest family. Really, I'm not kidding. So the crowdfunder was probably just his wife's, pocket change or babysitting money. I don't know. But I digress. Here's the point. One of the biggest challenges that we face in proper public history is the avalanche of well-funded, high-visibility history creators, not historians, but history creators, cherry-picking stories to appeal to the audiences that pay. And who's paying? You know this. Predominantly white people. And what do they want? Stories about white people. Or at most, stories about non-white people that reinforce positive images of white people. Hence Colonial Williamsburg and the Bray School. Now, you need proof in this particular instance. We're all in this together. This is co-creating meaning and sharing authority. We can all look at the evidence. Snow's social media team regularly highlights the success of his content, and they do in this post. Unseen accounts of groundbreaking topics like Jesus' baptism. Maybe Jesus counts as a non-white subject. Anyway, Stalingrad. How Richard III sounded. The Battle of Agincourt, and Anne Boleyn. Fresh takes on all of them. I'm not making this up. Go check it out. His social media manager even posted a graphic promoting that lineup. Go ahead, go take a look on Blue Sky at this. And stop me when you find a subject that doesn't center a white face, a white story, or more often, white faces centering white stories. Better yet, and more effectively, go right now, you can pause this, check out History Hits TikTok and Instagram accounts. Now, count how many non-white faces or stories you see. It's going to take you a while before you hit either one. And then do the math. Compare it to the white faces and white stories you see. The math will be pretty easy. So, this morning over on Blue Sky, I couldn't resist debate. It was early. And accountability matters. And Snow's approach is a huge problem because it is so subtle. It's the Jeff Bezos model of history, right? Use your massive resources not for a public good, but to make privileged audiences more comfy. Unchallenged. Welcome. So I do what I do, right? I responded calling out his white presenter-driven, white-centered comfort history. And then a valued mutual of mine, member of this community, Sefi, joined the discussion with even sharper points than I could muster. And that's when things got interesting and a little weird. The account responded asking if I was a subscriber. Okay. Early morning me took the question seriously and doubled down, critiquing the whiteness of their stories and storytellers. Then came this response back. Cool. I was just checking that you'd watched them. I'm sorry you feel I have failed to produce good, sustainable television public history when there are so few alternatives out there. I think we do a lot better than the mainstream alternatives, but I accept there is a long way to go. And then The challenges of making commercially viable history, which simultaneously remains true to the core precepts of the academic discipline, are pretty huge. Okay, now hold on. Snow's not a historian. Neither is Don Wildman, who hosts Snow's American History content and happens to be the godfather to one of Snow's sons. And I assume that that the AI-driven social media manager is also not a historian, and he, she, or it seems to be drafting these responses. So what exactly, given all of that, what exactly does, quote, remaining true to the core precepts of the academic discipline, unquote, mean here? Snow's operation tells history-themed stories, almost exclusively white-centered ones, that reinforce the idea that these are the only stories worth telling. They're neither rigorously contextualized nor historiographically valuable, so where's the nod to the academic discipline? Even half of their presenters aren't historians or archaeologists. But we don't even need to go that deep, okay? The critical issue that we really can more valuably explore is in the mission statement itself. Making commercially viable history as a predicate, as their Rubicon. What is that? Well, it's history that sells. It's exactly what it sounds like. And what history sells depends on who's buying. Snow's model is clear. Sell white comfort history to willing buyers. That explains the pigmentation of his content empire and the lineup of storytellers he employs. It's a system that reinforces privilege while patting itself on the back for inclusivity it doesn't actually practice. More Shackleton, anyone? Here's the problem. If the stories we tell are determined by their commercial viability, we're in a really tough spot, folks. History becomes, as it has in fact become, a product curated for the comfort of the buyer rather than a public good, a civic act that challenges us to confront uncomfortable truths. There are audiences out there. There are audiences right here, especially among the global majority, who crave honest history, who crave stories that make us uncomfortable, that keep us on the edge, because that's where change can be made. Stories that show us the hard roads traveled to get from where we were to where we are. But to tell those stories, we need to hold accountable the privileged few who monopolize historical narratives, presenting them as the only ones worth telling, and then congratulating themselves for it. As for the rest of us, the real public historians, we can do better. And no, we don't need the Duke of Westminster's wallet to do it.